Hey guys, Brennan here with Cargo Bike Crew. So this morning we came out to ride the bike and saw that the tyre was flat. I did pick out a bit of glass from the tyre the other day, but I think it must have just caused a slow leak. So it's just gone down overnight. So time to change the tyre now anyway. So we're going to put on the set of pickups that we had done in our tyre test previously. So let's take you guys through the process of changing the back and front tyres on a 2023 Urban Arrow. So this will be different across the years, but the 2023 model has a front through axle. We are running the Enviolo HD cargo rear hub. So what you'll need, new tyres to start with. We've got a new tube. You'll need tyre levers. For the rear wheel, you'll need a 15mm spanner, or a pedal wrench is also 15 mils, or a deep socket. It needs to be a deep socket to fit over the nuts. For the front wheel, you will need a 6mm Allen key or hex key. And just to help chock up the rear, a couple of bits of timber, or use a jack, like a car jack. And then to pump up the tyres, you'll need a pump. What you want to do to start with is jack up that back wheel. And just grab our car jack. Now there's a little spot under here. I'll try and get it on this other camera. Alright, so when you jack it up, there's this little spot under here that I like to use, just a little plate under the motor. You can use to put the jack, just give it a little something to stabilize itself on. So let's go and do that. Here. So you just want a bit of clearance so you can swing the wheel out of the way there. Alright. Next thing you want to do is actually get the Enviolo cables disconnected. So if I go for a close up there, you want to disconnect this bit here. If you need, what you can do, I'll just get some light from there. You can actually turn the gear shifter so it sits all the way at the bottom, give you easier access to that. So flick that down, that'll disconnect one side, and then got another one in there. I didn't mention having a pick or some sort of tool like this. Otherwise, you can just pull it out. Now, once those are disconnected, it is really important that you do not touch the shifter, or it can cause the cables to unravel inside the shifter and eventually shred the cables. So once you've unclipped them, just make sure you don't touch the shifter. Alright, next step is to get those axle nuts off. Use that 15mm spanner. Those are pretty loose, to be honest. Get back on there. See, you only need to back them off. And it will drop out just like that. So, if you also notice, there are these anti-rotation washers that actually sit inside there. So that stops the wheel from actually rotating when the when the gears are shifted or when the brakes are applied. So you'll want to note the orientation of that. We've actually got a lug on the inside. I'll show you when they go back on, but the lug goes on the inside there and stops it from rotating, but you can put it back on the wheel just here, like so, just so you don't lose them. Okay, now what you want to do, we've got a belt drive here. Want to be really careful with the belt drive. You don't want to crimp it or scratch, because the edges of the cog on the back are quite sharp. So you want to make sure you're very careful when you take this off. It'll be pretty loose, so you can just sort of unhook it around here and just make sure that's sitting out of the way. And then the next thing that's already happened, but if it hasn't happened when it's fallen out, you'll need to some light. You'll need to disconnect the Enviolo cables from these holes, so the cable ends actually go into these holes here. Again, I'll show you when they need to go back in. Alright, now that's done, we just need to slowly work our way through. Just get this wheel out. Try and fold that belt out of the way so it doesn't get crimped or damaged. If you need to, you can lift the look up a bit higher. So you do need to just lift it up a bit higher. So be aware, kickstand just came up when I lifted it. So just hold on to it. There we go. Alright, and we can just lean that up somewhere out of the way while we get the kickstand back down. Alright, so here we are. Here's that back wheel. Just have a look. Always good to have a look at the rotor just to make sure there's no damage that you can't see when it's on there. It looks okay. And then there's the Enviolo side. Looks all good. A close look at the sprocket for any wear on the edges. If it's really sharp on the edges, that's what can cause your belt to snap unexpectedly. Not too much play in there, it seems okay. I don't know what that's meant to be. Seems okay. Also make sure when you're handling the wheel, don't touch the rotor, or try not to touch the rotor, because then you'll need to clean it up. So let's just disconnect the tube here. I don't have to do it later. Alright, so here we are. Take our tyre levers. I always start with the valve at the top. Stick one tyre lever in either side and just lever it over the edge. Rotate it and then pull it towards you. That's it, and then just do the rest by hand. With the valve stem now at the bottom, you can lift that edge of the tyre over the top, and voila, there is your free wheel and tyre. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this out of the way on top of that, and we can have a look and inspect this. So if you want to patch it, see, this is still holding a bit of air, but it's quite flat. If you want to patch it, you can actually see right there. I'm going to take a close up on the other camera. So I've got it out and you can actually see. So there it is. There's a very small puncture there. So that is totally patchable. But what I'm going to do is put in a new tube, patch this one up, and then I'll have this patched one in my kit as a spare just in case. And also when you're looking at them, if you're not sure where it's come, just have a look at the corresponding position on the tyre. So you can have a look, always check on the inside of the tyre. So run your hand around on the inside of the tyre, make sure there's no excess debris on the inside that could cause a second puncture when you put it all back together. But of course I'm not going to be putting this tyre back on. It's done 7,500 Ks. It's starting to get a bit, not too thin, but when it does start to thin out, that's when you start to get more punctures. Starting to crack a little bit, and there's just a lot of cuts and abrasions from just daily use. So definitely worth it. 7,500 Ks on this tyre, I think, is a great journey. But let's chuck it over there. So before you get going, I'd like to open up this new tube. So this is brand new Schwalbe standard Schroeder valve tube. It's very flat, so to make it easier, just give it a couple of pumps. A little bit of structure to make it easy to go back in. Tube here. So what you want to do is align it so the wheel is facing forward. So you've got your disc rotor on the left hand side, you've got your gear on the right hand side, so up is going forwards, and then you want to align your tread, so make sure your tread, there'll be a marker on the side that says rotation as well if you want to double check on there. So there it is, it says rotation forwards. So two things, align your label on the tyre, so you want to align your label pickup with the valve stem. You make sure you're looking very pro on your cargo bike. Get it over one side, there you go. Just flip it over, get your new tube. You want to tuck it in there, get the valve through. Alright, and then flip it the other way, so your valve is at the bottom. And just start getting your bead over. So over the top, get around halfway, make sure you're not pinching the tube at any point along there. Make sure it's all tucked in nicely. Tucked in underneath there. Get it all in. Alright, so now we've got the valve at the top. Just work your way around by a bit. I want to finish up at the valve. There you go. No tools needed. Alright, stick the... Where'd you go? There you are. Stick this little nut on so we don't lose the valve stem. At this point, if you are adding any sealants or whatever, slime, you can take out the valve core, put it in now before you pump it up. Otherwise, just go ahead and pump it up. So I'll fast forward this for you guys so you don't have to watch. Here we go. Alright, so I'm up around 20 psi now. I just want to have a look around and just make sure it's all coming out evenly. There's no bulges or anything up at the moment. And we'll keep going. Alright, 40 psi nearly there. Of course, if you have an air compressor, that is a much easier way to go. Alright, where are we at? 50 psi, I think that's good. Make sure that nut's down all the way. And I like to put my little dust cap on. Alright, that's the back wheel all done. One final check all the way around, make sure that it looks really even all the way around. And on the other side. Looks good. Okay, so we need to get this back in. I did pump it up to get it out, so I need to pump up the jack a bit again to get it back in. So let's do that. Just line this up here. Pump up. Last time the Alright. So you can just drive this in underneath, and then we'll drop it back down so we can stand. So as you can see, I've just got the wheel in place. There's a few things that I need to do to get it in position. First of all, the belt's out here, so I need to get the belt over the sprocket first. And second thing is, this is pointing the wrong way. So you noticed earlier those nuts, they were pointing down. So you want those nuts to be pointing down when you put it in. And you also want the lug to be on the inside. So you want the flat surface to be facing on the outside. All right, let's go ahead and get this switched around the right way. Alright, so we've got the cables here. We want this one with the hook to go in the bottom. This other one that's just got the the stopper to go in the top. I'm just trying to get those aligned in place before you lift the wheel up. And then the other thing you want to do, you see this nut. It's actually on a, so you can see. It's actually the axle is flat on the top and the bottom, so you want this is always going to be facing the correct direction, but you want it to be facing down. Just have that on loose. Pull that out so that aligns in that gap there. Get the prod out. Right, so when you lift that up, on the opposite side, a few things that need to get happening at the same time. On the opposite side, you want your rotor. Let's come around here. You want to get your rotor aligned into the caliper just right. You want it to go into that slot, and then you also want the axle nut on the other side to go into that side. So here, let's give that a go. Lift it up, and then once you've got it in place, make sure those. Okay. We'll need to rotate the whole thing slightly, I think. Alright, so you've got those just loosely done up. Don't worry about too much for now. So, let's see if you can see what's going on there. So we can have a look. You want the end of the cable outer to go into this slot here. So that's that bottom one. And then so you want this cable outer to go into that slot. So I don't think I'll be able to do this while holding the camera, so you guys will have to watch from down here. All right, successfully in there. So first one is to pull this round, and so this is where we had it before, all the way around. So you've got two slots. First one you want to bring around, make sure it's going through the slot on the side in there. And then the second one. All right. There you go. So you want to slot it in and then click it in place. Now what you should be able to do, just check you've got full range all the way around. Give it a pedal, just to make sure you can get your range all the way around from top to bottom if you pedal, like I said. There you go. Right, you might have heard when I did a test, it is rubbing significantly because I haven't actually tightened this up properly. So what you want to do is actually drop it down off the stand now, leave the bolt slightly loose and drop it down, and then we can tighten those bolts up, make sure it's nice and even. Alright, let's just loosen these. Just lift it up, make sure it's seated in there nice. Do it up by hand, and then take your 15mm, just do it up snug for now, give it a spin. And that is scraping. So just try and adjust it a little bit. If you need, you might need to actually there you go. Nice. Right. Alright, and the torque spec for this nut is actually in the Urban Arrow manual, listed as 40 Newton meters. So if you've got a deep socket and a torque wrench, then you'll be able to get that bang on. Otherwise 40 Newton meters is very tight, very tight. So just go pretty tight on these and just check them periodically to make sure they're not coming loose. All right, here we are on the front wheel. Pretty simple. On the brake side there's a 6mm, might need a bit of a crack if it hasn't opened in a while. Get that off. So this one there's nothing wrong with it. This is the Metro lows that I tested earlier. I've sort of been switching back and forth here, so I do kind of like these tyres, but I like a matching set. You can see there's a bit of those screws that we've been going. Yeah, I always like to put my through axle back in so it doesn't get all dirty. Alright, because this one is not flat, we'll need to do a bit of this. Alright, so avert your ears, people. Go ahead and take that nut off. Alright, as with last time, let's go to just in the side, together. There we go. And the valve at the bottom, just peel that over. And then what you can do, just grab the new tyre straight away. Again, with the disc brake on the left hand side facing forwards, check the rotation, check the tread. There it is again, rotation. So align the hole with the I think it was, the P. P on this tyre. Just get the one side. That is right. Get that tube from in the other tyre. Alright, there we go. Make sure it's in, not being pinched. Start opposite the valve. If you're having trouble, always just go back and push it all the way back into the centre. Try again. Back around, push it all the way in. Done. Alright, let's get these ones pumped up again. That's not quite seating properly. So what I might try and do is let so what's happening is it's seating down here, it's coming out. And then around this side it's still stuck underneath. So I'm just trying to massage that side out. Just trying to normal water. Don't put too much water because you don't want it to be sloshing around inside your wheels. Just a bit over 45 PSI. And installation is the opposite. So take that through axle out, align that rotor nicely, if you guys can see, with the caliper. Just give it a wiggle when you get that through. And the spec for the front through axle is 8 to 10 Newton meters. Alright, so I've got my torque wrench. Let's just go 8. Show you guys. That's already 8. That's already 10. Alright, so we've got it over spec, but I'm sure that's fine. Except the dropping. I think I've actually got a bent rotor here. Perfect. And there it is, how to change the front and rear tyres on a 2023 Urban Arrow family. Hope you found this video informative or entertaining. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like this one. Cheers.